Welcome, age of vintage society. Eartha Kitt was a sex symbol who blazed the path for countless black women after her. Unlike others, Kitt's journey to stardom was met with violence, poverty, and even surveillance by the CIA. One could never accuse the figure behind Catwoman of being shy. Why was Eartha Kitt blacklisted from the US by the FBI and CIA? Make sure to watch the video until the end and leave your thoughts in the comments. If you are new here, join our wonderful community by subscribing to the Age of Vintage channel. Eartha Kitt not only looks incendiary, but she can make a song burst into flame. Entertainer Eartha Kitt's 5 decades in show business approximate a roller coaster ride with peaks and valleys more considerable than most. The cabaret singer with the saucy delivery and sultry purr escaped a childhood so daunting that, according to People magazine's John Stark, it made Charles Dickens's fictitious urchin Oliver Twist look good. Yet by the time the song stylist had reached her mid-20s, she was headlining at top clubs in the United States and Europe, and rubbing elbows with such 20th century heavyweights as physicist Albert Einstein and Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. Early in her career, director Orson Welles pronounced Kitt the most exciting woman alive, and cast her in her first dramatic role as Helen of Troy in his award-winning interpretation of Faust. Later, the entertainer appeared in less distinguished cinematic vehicles, a downward trend she relates to her highly publicised confrontation with Lady Bird Johnson, former First Lady of the United States, over the Vietnam War in 1968. The conflict blacklisted Kitt from performing at home during her prime years and left a seemingly permanent stain on her singing and acting career. "I'm still very much here, and I feel strongly that the stars are rising for me again. As long as you are working, that gives you dignity and respect." Eartha Mae Keith was born out of wedlock in 1927 to a white father and to a 14-year-old mother who was African American and Cherokee in a small town called North in South Carolina, where miscegenation was deplored. Her black stepfather was a sharecropper who soon abandoned the family. When Eartha was 6, her mother also disappeared, and she and her half-sister survived on berries in the woods or picked cotton in exchange for food and shelter. The circumstances of her conception have been heavily speculated upon. She was either the product of her mother's affair with a local white doctor or, more horrifically, the result of her mother's assault by the plantation owner's son. Eartha Mae Kitt endured much trauma as a child. Taunted as a yellow girl because of her light skin, Kitt's light skin made her a particular target for taunts and beatings in her hometown. At the age of 8, she was taken in by an aunt, who brought her to Harlem to live. But the aunt mistreated her. She was a child abuser. I never knew when she was going to pick up a stool and hit me over the head with it. Not because I was doing anything wrong. I went to school with black eyes and welts on my bottom, and I figured, well, I guess that's the way it was meant to be. While her aunt worked, Kitt practiced singing and dancing, talents that won her recognition in school. Around the age of 16, Kitt won a scholarship to study with Katherine Dunham, and later joined Dunham's dance troupe. She toured with the group for several years before going solo. She was a dancer, singer, and became popular amongst the company for her unique voice and ability to sing in multiple languages. Her songs C'est Si Bon and Santa Baby were internationally successful and propelled her career as a performer. Kitt spent years touring around the world, singing in over 11 different languages and becoming fluent in 4 languages including French. Eartha's theatric singing performances only made it natural for her to begin her career as an actress. The entertainer's blend of sensuality and sophistication made her an instant hit with international audiences. Her individual stardom also brought clashes. In Paris, Kitt became a popular nightclub singer. She was discovered in Europe by actor-director Orson Welles. Kitt's 1950 dramatic debut in Welles's Time Runs in Paris drew critical acclaim and established her as a serious actress. She starred in 2 French films before returning to New York in 1952. After a fitful start, the performer re-established her nightclub act there, and after appearing in the Broadway revue New Faces of 1952 and its cinematic counterpart, she rose to new heights in popularity. She broke attendance records at New York's Blue Angel nightclub and the Mocambo in Hollywood. In the late 1960s, Kitt played one of her most famous parts, the villainous vixen Catwoman. She took over the role on the TV series Batman from Julie Newmar. Remarkably, Kitt only played Catwoman on a handful of episodes of the short-lived campy crime show, starring Adam West and Burt Ward, but she made the role her own with her lithe, cat-like frame and her distinctive voice. The series found a second life in reruns, and it remains on the air today. Donning the sexy leather catsuit, Eartha Kitt stepped into the traditionally white part and revolutionized black female representation in Hollywood. One critic said it best: Kitt's performance stood in contest to the roles available to black women on television, insofar as she did not fit the proverbial mammy, Jezebel, tragic mulatta, and sapphire stereotypes that were abundant on television and in the cinema at this time. She also worked with Washington, D.C.'s area's Rebels with a Cause in supporting their efforts to establish safe recreational areas for D.C. youth. Kitt believed children did not rebel and cause trouble simply because they are bad people. The system that works against minorities, specifically black youth in inner cities, create a lack of hope, dedication to hard work, and respect for authority. Eartha worked diligently to change this reality by working with grassroots organisations and by talking to people who had the ability to make change in the country. In 1967, Eartha Kitt was arguably at the height of her fame, but a luncheon at the White House in 1968 nearly left her hard-won career in shambles. Eartha Kitt was invited to a White House luncheon where she had the opportunity to speak to Lady Bird Johnson about the current climate of the United States at the time. The 60s was a decade that involved many social movements amidst the events caused by the Vietnam War. Once given the opportunity to speak with First Lady Lady Bird Johnson, Eartha bluntly stated, "You send the best of this country off to be shot and maimed. No wonder the kids rebel and take pot," she later stated. "The children of America are not rebelling for no reason. They are not hippies for no reason at all. We don't have what we have on Sunset Boulevard for no reason. They are rebelling against something. There are so many things burning the people of this country, particularly mothers. They feel they are going to raise sons, and I know what it's like. And you have children of your own, Mrs. Johnson. We raise children and send them to war." Kitt continued, "Mrs. Johnson, you are a mother too, although you have had daughters and not sons. I am a mother, and I know the feeling of having a baby come out of my guts. I have a baby, and then you send him off to war. No wonder the kids rebel and take pot. And Mrs. Johnson, in case you don't understand the lingo, that's marijuana." Kitt's passionate statement caused Lady Bird Johnson to exit the luncheon crying. Women in the room ran to the microphone to defend the Johnsons and level outrage at Kitt. Eartha Kitt's unpopular anti-war statements caused her to be blacklisted from American entertainment for 10 years. The cultural and political backlash was swift. The Washington Post reported at the time that President Johnson had Kitt blacklisted. Unable to get jobs in the United States, Kitt was forced to perform in Europe until she returned to America in 1978 to headline the Broadway musical Timbuktu. It was later unveiled by the New York Times that the CIA, prompted by the Secret Service in 1968, had kept a dossier on her. It was really heartbreaking to her and very upsetting that her own government turned on her for something as simple as just giving an honest response to a question, said Kit Shapiro, Eartha Kitt's daughter, and that was really something, I think, that she really never let go of, that disappointment. Reports about the incident made it seem that Kitt was an angry black woman who had made Lady Bird cry. Even Lady Bird in her private diary wrote, "One paper said that I was pale and that my voice trembled slightly as I replied to Miss Kitt. I think that is correct. I did not have tears in my eyes, as another paper said." Kitt's career rebounded after her return in 1978, which was accompanied by an invitation to return to the White House that year by President Jimmy Carter. In 1984, Kitt returned to the music charts with "Where Is My Man?". Throughout her adult life, Kitt had a tremendous work ethic. She kept up a busy work schedule well into her 70s. With her voice, charm and sex appeal, Kitt knew how to win over a crowd. Despite her lack of contribution to feminist theory and literature, many women and men look up to Eartha Kitt for her unbreakable spirit and fearlessness. Every role she played as an actress and every song she sang as a performer were empowering. Even in her performances in different languages, the songs were about empowering women. The lyrics of a song she sang in Tagalog called Ware Ware translate to "The women of Ware Ware have muscles like steel and we can fight any battle." She was often ridiculed for her political activism, including the White House scandal and her work during the apartheid in South Africa. Critics asked, "You, above of all people, would go to South Africa during apartheid time?" To which she replied, "Isn't that the time to go?" Kitt learned that she had colon cancer in 2006, a disease that ended up taking her life on December 25, 2008. She was 81 years old. By the time of her death from colon cancer, she had earned 2 Tony nominations, a Grammy nomination, won 3 Daytime Emmys, and had transformed from kitten to full-blown cougar goddess. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new here, and if you want to support my work, please visit my Patreon page. Now it is your turn. What do you think about the life and legacy of Eartha Kitt? She was the living voice of mothers and women with hope during these difficult times.